Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to Behind Beliefs and Behaviors, Getting to the Root Cause with Dr. Maiysha. Over the last couple of episodes, I've been giving you a little inside view into what it's like to transition to this new podcast and just dropping little bit of pearls, little bits and pieces before our first full length episode. And this right here will be our final short burst episode. And I want to talk about what's behind starting over. What is it like to start over? Well, in the last episode, I talked about what's behind transitions. And we talked about this idea of completion. Well, starting over may seem daunting to some. But what I love about starting over is that you really get a blank slate. Now, it's no secret, I've shared many times that in my career, I have started over several times. And so it may be that I'm just very facilitated at starting over at this point. But it wasn't always like that. I will share that starting over can be very, very scary, but it can also be very exciting and very invigorating and inspiring. For me, the first time I started over, I think because I was doing something completely new, it was extremely exciting and scary at the same time. Now, when you create your start over, when you're actually preparing to start over, this is when it can be fun. And I think that it's important to put the context of fun into our journeys of starting. I also think that because of the unknown, and this is a huge thing, this is a place where starting over can be very uncomfortable and a little bit scary. However, when we begin to reframe what starting over means, and when we begin to reframe the unknown, then there's an opportunity to bring a bit of solace and peace around that starting over, especially when you understand what's calling you to this new journey. And so I invite you, if you're in the space of thinking about starting over, to explore what is it that's calling you. Because when you're called to something, that's the reframe that makes starting over more exciting. Now, that doesn't mean that just because it's exciting, that there won't be some fear. But when our commitment is greater than our fear, when what we're called to is greater than our fear, then starting over is not something that is a huge mountain. And when we plan, when we really chunk things down into manageable bits, then we can actually make that process of starting over more comfortable and more workable, and it will feel more doable. You see, oftentimes when we think about starting over, it looks like a huge mountain to climb. And if you're thinking about starting something new and trying to eat the entire thing at once, of course it would seem overwhelming. However, when you look at the mountain and you see, well, what does the first step look like? How do you get to the first step? And you break down putting one foot in front of the other, then it creates that workability. Yes, the goal may be the mountaintop, but the sub goal or the small goal is really the footstep. And then you can look at what are the sub goals along the way that you need to get to in order to get to the mountaintop. So from a practical standpoint, when you plan to start over, when you actually break starting over down in this way, break your goals down in this way, and when you frame it by remembering what you're called to. So it's really kind of a delicate balance, right? You remember the big picture, but you break it down into manageable steps. And when you do that, then it actually helps starting over to be much more workable. Much more workable. So what are you starting over? What are you starting over? And how can you make that process more workable for you? I'm looking forward to hearing more about that and to seeing you on Behind Beliefs and Behaviors. I invite you on this journey with me. Subscribe and share this episode with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues. And let's go on this journey, because when we can really get what's behind beliefs and behaviors, we can interrupt behaviors that hold us back from becoming the people that we truly want to be, the fullest expression, the fullest authentic expressions of ourselves, and to be able to impact and help others do the same. So with that, we're going to be releasing every Monday early in the morning. And I look forward to this journey with you. In our next episode, you'll get to hear the full length episode. And so I'd love to hear a review of how this is starting out. And I'd love for you to share and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next episode. Until then, stay empowered.